we bent, we didn't break. I think we just were able to adjust, and some of our guys made some huge plays. Cole Peters made the biggest play of the game, I think. Right down there, it was early, about 5 minutes to go. They ran Andrews on a power sweep to the outside, and he ran it down from behind. I mean, that says a lot to run a kid down that's that athletic from behind. And then they got behind the sticks, kind of got into some things that they didn't want to do. And then our offensive line got that big push right there at the end on 3rd down and 2. And then the next play, Jackson scored. So just, again, get the balls in your seniors. Those guys, we were going to either win or lose with those guys, and they made the plays. But, credit to McCort. They came out with a great game plan. We only ran 13 or 15 plays in the first half. We just couldn't get off the field defensively. They hammered a fullback inside, and then they got the misdirection going. And then, the Sally play, which we practiced, bet you we practiced it 50 or 60 times this week, and we just weren't ready for the motion coming in, and then they sealed our inside linebacker, which we hadn't seen before. And again, just made a little bit of adjustments in the second half, and then get the ball in your kids' hands that you trust, and they made the plays.
You guys got that huge turnover, 17 recovered it when Andrews had the big run.
Oh, yeah, that was huge. And we were looking for a break because at that point, all the turnovers went their way. I think at halftime, we turned the ball over 3 times and did not force a turnover. And that really hurt us, and especially with the ability for us to not possess the ball very much.
What's it say about your team not being in a close game this year and then be able to gut it out like this?
Well, I mean, it's not like we haven't practiced for those things, and it's one of those things. They found a way to win, and couldn't be happier. We said coming up here, we didn't care as long as we won by 1 point. Our goal was to come up here and win. Mission accomplished.
Back-to-back 1,000th game, I mean, kind of magical numbers there.
Yeah, and I would imagine also that Jackson probably got over 1,000 yards rushing for the season tonight. Really proud, and it's a special thing whenever your 1,000th win as a school district happens to be only its 2nd District 6 title. It's back-to-back, but in the history of the school, they started playing football in 1900, and we had actually only ever been to the district finals in '85, and then these last 2 years, and never had won one. So now Laurel Valley had won 3, so that was a great tradition that they had. But in terms of the Ligonier Valley High School, it just wasn't that much of a success up to that point.
You had a little trouble with the extra points tonight going forward, something you probably have to just take a look at, or was that just a tonight thing?
I think it's just a tonight thing, but since my son went, he's been the long snapper for us for over 2 years. When we lost him, it kind of screwed up that whole operation, and that whole operation is really important, and we're going to keep working on it. This week in practice, it looked really good. He just missed the first one, missed it left. I don't know what happened with the snap on the second one, but then he nailed the third one. But those are things that's going to hurt us moving forward. So we'll get them corrected.
You mentioned bending up, breaking 3 huge 4th down stops. They're driving, and each time you guys were able to answer it.
Hats off. I mean, defense. It's been what this team has been about since basically all summer long as we went into camp, and those kids defensively and Coach Faust calling the defense did a fantastic job. I think we mixed some things up. One of the things that we saw on film is that teams didn't mix up the fronts and the slants that much. And sometimes, you saw it tonight, like sometimes we guessed right. Sometimes we had the right stunt called. Other times we didn't, and then they got a big long run. But whenever you get a team that runs the veer as well as they do, and it's assignment blocking, you want to try to flip those assignments around with them. And again, kids did a real nice job. And especially, I thought our end play tonight was really good between Burns and Cole Peters. They made big splash plays.
You face Newman Goretti next week.
No, we have Dunmore.
Or Dunmore next week.
Dunmore, yeah.
Are you ready for Dunmore?
No, not yet. Not yet. We followed them. We followed a lot of teams throughout the season. We don't even know at this point. It's not even confirmed when we're going to play, where we're going to play. I know that we're going to be traveling. It is what it is. We'll get ready. At this point, our main focus is celebrating with our kids that they won back-to-back championships, which I think is absolutely amazing. And kudos to all them. That's where all the credit goes. Those guys won this championship in the offseason.
You mentioned the kids having something to prove after last year. All the 15 kids back. You lost 2 key players, but they were only part of the formula. How sweet is it for these kids to get that satisfaction they were shooting for?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge, and it's one of those things that throughout the season, you know, so-called experts would say things like, "Oh, well, they only had Colin Smith, or they had Elijah Parrish." Well, you know what? Anytime you say those things, these kids are taking that to heart. You know, it's one of those. They put that up in the weight room. They got it on the walls, and when they're in the squat racks, they're seeing that oh, they're just Elijah Parrish and Colin Smith, and they set out to prove them wrong, and they did. This was a tremendous team effort. As I said, these kids won this championship in the off season. They won the off season, no doubt about it.
You mentioned the weight room and everything.
Just the way they went about.
Set the tone for everything, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.